Everybody, happy Thursday. Welcome to our September Flagstar Flex series. Really excited, as always, to have you here today. Certainly appreciate you taking the time, whether it's live that you're watching this or if you happen to catch it in one of the recordings that we send out. I'm really excited about today's session. I got a chance to see this individual through some of his work that got sent to me most recently by one of our account executives in Michigan who attended an event where our guest speaker was speaking live to several, a couple hundred people with inside the industry at one of the events up there for an association in Michigan. And I got to see some of his work in doing some due diligence before we talked. So I'm really excited. He's a speaker that I think is going to give you some insight into some things going on in the marketplace today. But more importantly, how do you react to it? How do you handle it? How do you move forward? How do you grow your business, right? But look, as always, hope this finds you, healthy, safe, well, everybody doing good, you, your family, friends, loved ones. It's hard to believe Labor Day's come and gone and we're in September already. And obviously, look, it's been a very interesting and challenging year for all of us in this industry. Probably for a lot of you and a lot of us, one of the more challenging years, if nothing else, from a standpoint of how quickly rates have accelerated and stayed where they're at. And look, at the end of the day, still a lot of people doing a lot of business. And I think a lot of it goes into the attitude and effort that we bring to what we do every single day, right? So, let me give you a little introduction, a little bit more information on our guest speaker today so we can get right into it. So our guest today, look, he's been described a lot of different ways, right? Energizing, passionate, practical, fun, creative, smart, you name it. I think there's a lot of adjectives that describe him and his kind of his presentation and how he goes about it, right? It's fun, it's upbeat, and at the end of the day, we're going to have a great conversation. He's nationally recognized as a presenter. He's probably spoken, last time I touched base with him a couple of weeks ago, it's probably over 500,000 people since he's been doing this. And again, throughout the entire country. And I would tell you, right, in doing some research on this, I think one of the most powerful testaments anybody can have is when they do an event and they end up booking more events from it or getting rebookings, right? And I think in talking to our guest, what I found to be somewhat, most impressive is a lot of his work, almost 85 to 90% of what he does is rebookings, right? So he gets that initial kind of engagement, and then he's, the organizations and the individuals stay engaged with him and bring them back. I won't go crazy on his bio, but I do want to give you a couple things. Graduated from the University of Maryland, George Washington University of Law School. He's a member of the Maryland State Bar, out of state status. Got to make sure I put that in there so we get it right. He's been a lecturer at Columbia University Business School in New York, presented on Capitol Hill. And I would tell you, you're going to see him today. You'll hear what we talk about, but he's been a guest on multiple podcasts or like a flex series like this, radio shows, published numerous articles. And in 2019, he was one of the most connected professionals in the mortgage industry, as recognized by the National Mortgage Professional magazine. And one of the things why I was excited to have this individual on is the content, what we're going to talk about today. And one of the things I focused in on is the market's changed. Our borrower, your borrower, has changed. And then the question is, are you where you need to be? Are you, from a market perspective, are you doing the things you need to do to grow your book of business? Are you meeting the borrower? Are you engaging with the borrower in the fashion that they need to be engaged in today? And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our guest, Steve Richman. Let's bring Steve on stage.
John, I love it. John, I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
We'll talk mortgages in a minute.
Sure.
You ever listen to the podcast Smartless?
I have not.
Do you know what that is?
I don't.
It's Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes. And they do this podcast. And each week they bring on somebody famous, but they don't say who the famous person is. They're like, this person. I'm like, I thought I was being introduced on Smartless. Like, this person, I'm not going to say his name, even though everybody's been seeing my name all over social media that I would be here. So they knew it was coming. So I'm like, this is Smartless. That's number one. Number two, You got a baseball right behind your, what is that? That's your left ear.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm looking at that, and I just want to call you Josh Gibson instead of John Gibson. So if I accidentally call you Josh, I'm looking at that baseball, and I'm going back to old-time baseball right there.
There you go.
Fantastic catcher for the Grays. So that's where we are. Thank you so much for having me. I've known Flagstar, worked with Flagstar since I had hair when I was. So did you. Okay, I mean that's how long I've been working with Flagstar. We both had hair at that time. So thanks.
That's right. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you doing it. And if the baseball is distracting, don't worry. I move around a lot, so my big head is probably going to get in the way. But hey, let's get into this, Steve. Right? I had a chance, like I mentioned. Right, I got referred. One of my A's saw you live do this and brought it to my attention. And you and I talked and looked at some of what you were doing. And man, I was really excited to have you on board. I know. Good news is, I know the cat that last time we were talking to each other, that kind of was the hero of that conversation. Won't
out of here.
He's out of here. It's just you and me. So let's get into it, man.
Look, you said it. I spoke to over 500,000 people this week alone. Where am I speaking? I got a gig in Atlanta. I had a gig in Atlanta on Monday, Tuesday. Then I got Wednesday. I was speaking at the New England Mortgage Bankers. Then I got Virginia Mortgage Lenders on Thursday. And now I'm here on this podcast, a webcast, whatever, on a Thursday afternoon. And the one word, I got to tell you, I hear it every time I speak, everywhere I go. When everybody says, hey, what are you thinking about this market, man? It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's interesting. That's one of the things I was going to ask you, right? With all the engagements, and I know you've been doing a ton of them recently, what's kind of the consensus that you're hearing from a lot of people? And here you go, right? Crazy.
If it ain't Patsy Cline crazy, it's CeeLo Green crazy. I mean, this is crazy, right? And there's a way to start to think about this is when we think, you got to look short-term, long-term. Okay. First off, this is not 2008. I was here in 2008. You were here in 2008. The big difference between now and 2008 is 2008. The mortgage and real estate industry caused that problem. We're not the cause this time. We're actually going to be the leading factor when it goes away. But I think you need to look at what's going on in today's market. You got to look at short-term and long-term. Short-term, it is a tough market. I'm not denying that. There's no way around it. But think about farming. I mean, right now in Georgia, and Georgia's a wonderful place. I was there earlier this week. Their peaches, it's the Georgia peach. The peach market, the peach crop was decimated this year. The weather just was not good. And the amount of Georgia peaches produced were de minimis. Now, does that mean that's it? We're done with peaches forever? They're never going back to peaches? No. What happens is, in good crops, you build it up to what? Save for the bad crop. And right now, we're in a bad crop. I mean, that's just what it is. But when you look at it, when I think about long-term, see, this isn't like other stuff. This isn't like I'm in VCR repair. Mortgages and real estate are not getting replaced with something. If you have a VCR, it's now replaced with streaming. So it's a totally different thing. People, I don't know about you, John, but that's a nice little area. It looks to me like you're sitting in a house right now. And I know I'm sitting in a house right now. People are going to need places to live. That's what we're looking at. But the silver lining of it all is the fact that there's no inventory today. And what is that doing? That's making sure that we continue to have high demand. It keeps the home values high. So we're not going into that craziness of what happens. 2008, 2009 there was a glut of inventory in the market, and that's what shook everything up. Today, we have more equity than we've ever had in the marketplace, and we have low inventory. So long-term, look, flat out, I'll tell you, my son he'll be 27 next week. So should we say he's 27? But you pick the day, right? So my son was in an offshoot of the mortgage industry, and there were layoffs, and he lost his job. And he's like, Dad, what should I do? Another company wants to interview me in the mortgage industry. I said, we're going to be okay. That's where I look at short-term, long-term. I mean, what is your thought, John? Am I missing the boat there? Am I crazy?
No, not at all. Right. I think it's something we talk about internally all the time. And we have national calls with our AEs 2 times a week, and we try to focus on several things, right? And one is bringing value to our business partners to help understand that, like, the situation we're in right now is a now situation, right? Like, I joined this industry straight out of college, right? It's the only industry I've ever been in. I graduated from Drexel up in Philly in '94 and literally went right onto the street as a retail loan officer. And it's the only thing I've ever done. And to your point, I don't think it's ever changing, right? Like, at the end of the day, times and cycles may be different. Rates go up, rates come down, borrowers' motivation, different generations, how they look at But at the end of the day, you go back to that old, definition of American, dream, right? Grow up. Maybe it's go to college now. Maybe it's go to a trade school. Maybe it's do something else, but do something, right? And then you get a job, and then you find somebody, and then you get married, and then you have kids, and then you get a dog or a cat, and then you buy a house, right? Like, that's never going away. And I think the one thing you said that I've tried to explain to people as well is what happened in 2008 and 2009 was self-fulfilling. Like, this industry caused that problem, right? And you said it perfectly. That's not the situation. And we're going to be the beacon when this thing turns around, right? And we already have been anyway. If you really think about it, the overall size of the market has shrunk dramatically year over year. And it's because refis have gone, right? But look at the purchase market. It's still a very strong purchase market. And the key factors of what you're talking about, they still exist, right? Rates are they high? Yeah, they're high compared to where they have historically been low for 5 years, and they were suppressed and kept down that low for 5 years.
Not when I got in the business. We were at 12% when I got in the business. I'm an old man here, so we're going to be okay. I flip back to the original because you said something, I don't even know that we need slides the way you and I can talk, but 6 steps to success in today's market. Well, what are my 6 steps? The 4th step is what you said. Stop doing just mortgages. Provide value add. Be something more than right now. Mortgages are tough. So what do you need to do? You need to be providing other value, additional value to your customers. So you're staying top of mind so that when it comes down to it, then they're going to remember you when they're ready to go. That's what I'm thinking about. And so let's get into it. So we go short-term, long-term. And we know, okay, we just said when the going gets tough. John, when the going gets tough, what do the tough do?
They get going.
No, they don't, man. Look, I'll be real honest with you. When the going gets tough, the tough get organized, they get disciplined, and they follow a plan. When the going's easy, it's easy to be disorganized because what are you doing? The phone's ringing, you're picking it up. Hey, you're playing the rate game all day long, right? Well, now it's so tough. We got to be very organized. We got to be disciplined. We got to follow a plan. And part of that plan is providing something above and beyond just the mortgage.
Makes sense. If you really
That's how you differentiate yourself.
That's right.
Back in the day, I remember 3 years ago, you know what I did every Friday afternoon? I played golf. Why? Because I was so busy all week long. I knew the phone was going to keep ringing all weekend long. It didn't matter. Today, winners are working on Friday afternoon. They're disciplined. They're making that extra phone call. They're sending out that other email. They're making that additional contact. You got to get organized, disciplined, and follow that plan. So I talked about 6 steps. Do it real quick. Knowledge. Look, you got to know something in order to be able to do it. I'll give you a quick hint here on knowledge right now. If I have a little bit of extra time, folks, go deep right now and learn a new program. Learn a new program that you've never done before, but your company offers or Flagstar offers that you've never done before, because no loans are easy today. Every loan scenario is very quirky, and people are coming up, hey, do you have this? And if all you know, most loan officers know 2 to 3 programs really, really well, and that's their sweet spot. But right now, you can't turn away from that 4th person who comes in who doesn't fit into your sweet spot. So if you learn additional programs to get knowledge of it, and think about this, depth beats breadth. Depth beats breadth. The better you know a loan program, the more you'll be able to do it. Why? Have you ever had a scenario where you submit it to an underwriter and the underwriter turns it down and you're like, no, I know this program so well. Let me tell you why they qualify. That's where we want to go. So you got to have knowledge. I talk about this celebrity Zoom. What are you binging right now? I'll tell you right now, my wife and I are binging. We're binging Succession. Oh, it's so much fun to watch that. If you don't like profanity, don't watch that show. But
That's a good call. If you don't like the language, don't
you
watch
don't
that.
like profanity, don't watch it. But I got to tell you, I just really enjoy it. Translationship are talking about sales techniques. SpongeBob Spider-Man is exactly what you were talking about, John. What we need to do is we've absorbed all this knowledge, and now we have our web out there, and we want to keep our customers in that web. So we're constantly communicating with them. And that's that value add that we're talking about. We're on video right now. You and I are talking together. Gosh, video is so important. We need to be present. We need to be in front of people. There are ways to do it, and 4Ds and 2Gs are just some actions that you can take. So with your permission, I ask you this, John, because we're going to talk about knowledge and information. Is knowledge power? Most people are going to say yes. No, 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 no. Power is derived from how you leverage your knowledge. I'm looking at you, John, right behind you. And now I'm talking your right shoulder, above your 3 Flagstar little awards that are right there. What's above your right shoulder?
Yep.
What is it?
Books.
Do those books have knowledge in them?
Of course they do.
If all you do is read those books and you do nothing with it, are you any different than those books?
Not at all.
Knowledge without action is a book. It's all about the action you take. And we say, oh, what can we I can't control rates. I can't control inventory. I control my mindset, I control my actions, and I control my schedule. Those are the 3 things that you can control. So you need to take action with what's going on. Agree or disagree?
I do. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I say it a little in a different format, but I think it's the exact same thing you just said. And if anybody talks to any of my AEs or my managers, they've heard me say this probably for the 4 years I've been here, right? I say there's 2 things that nobody can take away from you and nobody can control. It's your attitude and your effort that you bring to whatever it is, your personal life, your job, your hobby. You talk golf. I love playing golf, right? I started a couple of years ago. I was 18 handicap. Now I'm down to a 7. Like, attitude and effort are 2 things that you're in complete control of and nobody can take away from you.
For sure. So that's where we are. Now, you say attitude and effort. I'll take it to the next page right there, the next concept. It's what I call IMA. I'm going to help you grow your business. I'm going to help you succeed. I'm going to help you make it to the long term. What's IMA? Information. We're on this Flex series. I know you've had other great speakers, and they all come out and they go, this is what you need to know. You not need to know. But if you don't have the other 3 things, the information is just a book. You got to have the right mindset. Okay, got it. Next year's going to be better than this year. This year's going to be scarce. So what's my message? My message out there is, hey, don't worry. We're going to be okay. It's going to be long-term. And the actions that I'm going to take is right now, based on that, I'm going to learn a new program every single week so that I have that information, mindset, message, action. You want to know the one thing that I think is actually working right now, because I want to apply it, is, and I say this all the time, if you're not talking to builders, you're missing the boat right now. Because what you're watching is, look at that, new construction is almost 1/3 of the marketplace. There's a lack of dudes and dudettes. I got a 2 5/8 mortgage. You know what I'm not doing? Moving. I'm going to be here for a while. So and we know there's a demand. We know there's an inventory issue. I'm saying, all right, if the information is rates are higher right now, but they were lower in the past and that's why people aren't doing it. And we know there's an inventory problem. We know it has to get there. My message is go start talking to builders, because that's where it's going to be coming from. The action that's the mindset. Hey, I can find it. 1/3 of all business is coming through builders right now. So my action is I'm going to go call on them. You got to take that IMA framework and make it happen. I mean, are you seeing that, John, when we look at?
Yeah, look, there's no doubt about it, right? If you look at it, I think you're spot on, right? The resale market, I think, what did I see the stat the other day? It was like there's 1.3 million licensed real estate agents in this country. And there's like roughly, it's probably different now from when I read the article, plus or minus like 575,000 homes on the market that aren't new construction, right? Like a traditional resale type of situation. I think what you're talking about is understand the information, but then what's the game plan, right? How are you setting yourself up to succeed short term, knowing that long term we're going to get back to a normalized market, 2.5, 2.6 trillion. You're going to see refis pick back up as rates start to come back down. But I think what you're talking about is how are you setting yourself up to be successful, right?
Right. And I think I lied. I'm 3 5/8. I think I said 2 5/8 earlier. I want full disclosure. There's the wrong word came out of my mouth. It's
Hey,
3
don't worry about it. There's a lot of people that are at that, depending on 15-year versus 30, or somewhere in that 2.25 to 3.5 range, right?
Well, I just don't want somebody to ever say, "Hey, you misspoke. I made a mistake. I'm just going where it is." So, but I mean that. So I take that information. Now, the next thing people say to me all the time, they're like, "Where do you get all this information?" Well, first I want to talk about this guy. You know Doug Duncan, if you ever had him on this?
We have not had him on this, but I've sat in on some stuff Doug has done, and I do know Doug, yes.
He's just awesome. I mean, oh, not worthy, right? He's just great. Chief economist for Fannie Mae. And he said to me once years ago, and I asked him this, I was with him about 2 months ago. I said, "Do you still stand by this? Don't look at the numbers, look at the trend." Right? Because unemployment, oh, is it going up? Is it going? Whatever the number is today is irrelevant. It's the number compared to what it has been historically. So you can see, is it going down? Is it going up? That's where we are, right? You say, oh, this is how many homes are available for sale. What did you say? There were 545,000. Is that what you
Something
said?
like that, 570 listings that are out there.
570,000 listings. Well, unless I can compare that to any other number, how do I know if 570 sounds like a lot to me? But if we can see that it's going like this over trends or going like this, then we can truly understand it. People will mess with you with unemployment. Well, does that include the underemployed? Does that include the people who have 2 jobs? Does that include the people that left the market? Doesn't matter. Because once we look at that number, we're comparing that same number that does or does not include underemployed, that does or does not include the people who have left the market. So you got to look at the trends and not the numbers. And where I find all this stuff, I'll just break it down to you right now. Here's where I go. Here's my 4 go-to sites. I say, and I'll throw a 5th one in there, but I think everybody already goes to. I'll do that one first. If you're not signed up for robchrisman.com, I don't know what you're doing. Okay. Chrisman, it's the #1 mortgage blog in the United States of America. Comes out 6 days a week for free. You got to sign up for Chrisman. You'll know what's going on. You want to know what's going on in the market? Go to FHFA.gov. Monthly report, quarterly report comes out. It's similar to the Case-Shiller, but I like the FHFA because it has other commentary that comes along to it. Whichever one you like, I don't care. I always can see what's going on with home values. I can track that. I will say, please be very, 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 very careful. Make sure you go to FHFA.gov. If you go to FHFA.com, you're going to be looking at naked people because that's a porn site. I mean, look, we're doing this. This is on here. People are watching. I don't want any complaints. Go to the right site. FHFA. What, John? Gov. There you go. Econ70.com. My man, Elliot Eisenberg, used to be out of Washington, D.C. He's now down in Florida. Monday through Friday, absolutely for free. He will say, this is what's going on in the economy today, and he does it in 70 words or less. Oh my gosh, does he make it so easy to understand? And a lot of times he's talking about mortgages. John, where are you right now? What zip code?
I am in Northern Virginia, just outside of D.C.
Okay. John, I'm going to ask you the same question. What zip code are you in?
20136.
See, John says, I'm listening to you. No, you're not. 20162 is what I think you just said.
20136.
20136. I'm at what? I'm at 27587. So we're in totally different zip codes. How do you track what's going on in your area? Homefacts.com. Homefacts.com has every zip code in the United States of America. It will give you every statistical and demographic piece of information that you can ever want. how many people live there, what percentage are homeowners, what percentage are renters, how many vacant properties there are. It will break it down how many Democrats live there, how many Republicans live there. It will give you an age breakdown. It'll tell you about, so you'll be able to say, oh my gosh, look at all these young people. Got to look at first-time home buyers. Oh, look at all these older people. They're looking for second homes. It'll show you how much land is available. You go to homefacts.com, every zip code in the US, you need to get there. And I'm a video guy. I don't love reading all the time. Nationalmortgageprofessional.com. Every Friday, they come out with a video clip called The Interest, and it summarizes what happened in the week. So if you don't really like reading, Christine Stewart and the other folks that work there do just a fantastic job. So I really like looking at The Interest.
Yeah, Steve, stay here for a second for everybody that's watching this, right? Number one, a lot of times on these Flex series afterwards and in other things that we do, we get a lot of questions around, hey, where can I go to get some of these facts, right? Or some of this data. Like I get asked that a lot. And there are things that we point to, right? But I can tell you this right now, there's 3 of the 4 on here are new to me, right? Number 2, 3, and 4, totally new to me from a standpoint of like, how can I get data and ingest more information, right? Because then you mentioned before, right? Knowledge, well, you kind of phrased it differently, right? Knowledge without any type of action is just a book, but you got to be able to get the information so that you can then be disciplined about it, take action, and move forward. So this is great. I love that you put this in here because we get asked that a lot of times, like especially like home facts, right? Where can I get this data? Because the one thing you were talking around, and I was going to make sure we threw this out there because I think it's more important than ever, especially when you look at short term versus long term. We talk about this all the time. The national media that people like swear by, like CNBC, people have it on all day. That's not really what's happening in your local marketplace, right? Like where you conduct business, where you're looking to drive referrals, where you're looking to help, homeowners, whether it be purchase or refinance. And just looking at something like that, home facts, what Steve mentioned, and I did hear you. I was just, the 2013. When people say that, I go, DC, that's where I'm at. That's where, look where you can go get information now. And I'll break down all that stuff Steve was talking about. So how do you use that to your advantage? Because again, the story that the media paints, it's sensationalism, right? It's done for a certain reason. But really what you need to know is what's happening in your local marketplace where your real estate agents are conducting business, where builders are building. What's going on, where people are migrating to and transitioning into from a standpoint of where they are. This is where you get all that stuff. I love the fact that you just shared all this.
Well, I'm going to take it one step further on the next slide. Because I hear, where do we get the information? And then I hear, well, I'm on Facebook. I don't understand how to use this thing. Where do you get it? I don't even know where to go on Facebook. I'm going to answer that question IMMA.
There you go.
Well, you need to sign up right now, today, for these 3 Facebook groups if you're on Facebook. You got to get in the Mortgage Loan Officer Network and the New Loan Officer Group. What happens when you're in there? Every loan officer, look, there's tens of thousands of people on there. They're asking questions. They're saying, this is where I work. This is a problem. I don't like this. I do like this. If you're recruiting, it's a great place for you to go. If you're finding out like who has a great construction to perm program, it's a great place to go. When it says, hey, am I looking at this right? Why is this happening? You see, look, my wife, who's sitting in the other room over there, who I love dearly, she's awesome. But when we're sitting down to dinner and I say to my wife, oh man, I had an appraisal come in low today. She's like, okay, so when do you want to watch the next episode of Succession, right? I mean, there's no empathy right there. She doesn't understand what that means when the appraisal comes in low. These people are your network. You can talk to them. You can see what's going on. You'll hear everyone else, no one else is having that problem. Then maybe it's you. Oh my gosh, everyone else is having this problem. It's not just me. Great places to go. And mortgage influencers, that's where like some of these Elliot Eisenbergs, Rob Chrisman, me, we are, and we're doing podcasts and webinars similar to what we're doing right now, John. Yeah. So it comes out there, the Ginger Bells of the world, the Scott Shangs. So you can get some really great additional video information from some of the experts in the industry. So the other is where you do your research, and this is where you see what everybody's talking about.
It's great. It's good info, right?
I do it all the time. So that's where it is. And I'm looking a little bit at the time. So I want to click just for a second to this celebrity Zoom thing.
Yeah.
Because I know we're all watching TV. So and we're all sick of Zoom calls. By the way, I think Zoom's about to come back because I think COVID's coming back right now. I mean, my daughter had COVID. She's doing much better now. Amen. Hallelujah. I'm glad she's better. But people are just missing work. And where she is at school, 2 of her teachers have COVID. So guess what they're doing? They're doing classes online right now because it's coming back. So let's talk about these 5 people. Right? If I could have a Zoom call, this is who I would want. Now, John, go top left-hand corner. You know who that is?
Yeah, it's John Cena.
And that's Nicole Bear.
Okay.
So do you know what TV show they're on together?
No.
There's a show called Wipeout. Have you ever seen this show?
Oh, yeah.
It's the one where you're running on the bouncy balls and the thing hits you in the face and knocks you in the water. Water. I'm sorry. You're from Washington, D.C. You understand I say water.
I understand that. I'm a Jersey guy at heart, so I understand that.
There you go. Here's what I say. We all want loyalty. We all want people to do repeat business with us. We want people to come back and talk to us. What I learned from that show is when you put up obstacles and you're difficult to work with and you're knocking people down and trying to get them through an obstacle course, they don't like you very much. If you really want to know the secret to loyalty, it's not getting it done. It's getting it done easily for them. I mean, I know me. When I originate, I've done some loans that have been so hard and you got to jump through 15 hoops and you're telling, hey, customer, I need this now. And now I'm trying to do that. And we're making everything so difficult. That's the customer that always looks at me at the end. They don't say, thank you for getting this done. They say, wow, that was really a lot of work on my end. Can I get a discount? Right? I mean, that's what it is. If you want somebody to come back, you make it easy for them. So the more that you can do that they don't even know about, that makes their life easy, that's how you drive loyalty. Now, John, you were sitting back and looking at a screen. Is there a question that just popped up or something? Or
no, I was just honestly, I was trying to figure out who the middle person was.
Okay. Well, the one that's going like this?
Yeah.
That's Jamie Lee Curtis, recent Academy Award winner from Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Lindsay Lohan. Because they were in a movie together called what? Freaky Friday.
That's right.
They swap each other's places.
Yeah.
And that's how I think you got to think about your customer. You're not doing a loan for them. Imagine you were doing that loan for yourself. It takes a whole new perspective when you start swapping the position with that. They're difficult to work with. They're difficult to work with. That they want the loan just as much as you do. So, you know, I always say, how would I treat my wife? How would I treat my mom? How would I treat my brother, my sister, whatever, if I was doing a loan for them? Put yourself in their shoes. Do you know, I mean, I know it's stressful for us in the mortgage business, but my God, these people are overwhelmed and they are in your hands. It's like going to the doctor and saying, hi, what's wrong with me? Can you fix me? Hi, I want a house. I don't know how to do this.
Yeah. Well, so, you know what's funny, Steve? So I got a good friend of mine who is buying a second home. I probably call it an investment property. And we were at his house. We were hanging out over Labor Day weekend. He had some people over for like a pool party type of thing. We were just chilling. He started talking to me. And he knows I'm in the industry. But he knows that from knowing him as long as I do, he knows that I don't, in TPO, right? I don't deal directly with a consumer, right? But I was like, hey, I got people I can refer you to. Where's the property at? And it's so interesting because this is what you're talking about, right? So the person I referred him to, I've known probably for the last 15 years between this company and my previous employer. And in that area where he's looking to buy this investment property, 100% unequivocally is the person when I connected to, I said exactly what you just said, which is, hey, this is the individual that I would trust with my transaction, my family members, and friends like you. That's how highly I think of him and how he goes about his business, how he supports his borrowers, and his customers, you'll become a friend of his when the transaction's over, and you'll refer people to him. So to your point, that's what you're looking for, right? Like, he's made so many transactions easy for so many people, and his individual working relationship with the lender, right? He has that good relationship with his business partners too, that he has really turned into like a go-to resource for me, that if I need something done in that area, I'm going to him.
Which is exactly why I got Cindy Lauper up there. Hi, you're going to get to know the person. You're going to connect to the person. Folks, you got to be yourself. I watch these people. Oh, well, this is the top LO. I got to do it exactly the way that person, because you know what? But their actions meet their personality, and it's their desire to do that. You can't just try and be a clone of somebody else. You have to be yourself. Cyndi Lauper was not the greatest singer. Listen to that voice. She's not the best singer. She's not the best musician. She says she can't even play the piano. But does she still have more awards than you can shake a stick at? Absolutely. Why? Because she figured out how to make it work for herself. You need to be yourself. Me, I love being on stage and communicating this things out to people. Other people go, my God, that is so not for me. I like to crunch numbers. Folks, both can be successful. Be yourself and let your personality shine through. But while you're doing that, go into Office Space with Bill Lumberg. Yeah, I'm going to need that TPS report. Folks, the reports and the data that you're putting into your CRM are critical, and they are very important. I know, oh my God, do I really have to put all this information in there? Yes. Why? Remember, you got to be organized, disciplined, and follow a plan. That literally is your CRM. Garbage in, garbage out. Please take care of your data. You are as good as your data, because you are where you are today. Your data is going to take you where you are tomorrow. And lastly, we got Morgan Freeman. Because our customers, they don't know what's going on in the world. They're so confused about how to get a mortgage. But Morgan Freeman does what? He's the greatest narrator of all time. When I die, I want him speaking at my funeral, talking all about me, because he is the voice. And we need to narrate the process for our people. And as we narrate it, how does he do it? He's always calm, cool, and collected. It's going to be okay. Let me break it down. We're the duck. We might got our feet going like this underneath the water, but on top, we're Morgan Freeman. We're smooth and easy and communicating and letting them know exactly what's going on. And I know I did that all pretty darn quickly, but those are the 5 people that I would invite to my Zoom call to take out to any customer that's listening to this right now.
I love it. I love it. Right. Look, and the behind it, right? It's either Morgan Freeman or the guy that narrates Hard Knocks, if you watch that show, which I just realized is Liv Schreiber, the actor. I didn't even realize it was him, so it doesn't even sound like him. But the point's there, right? Like, think about what Steve's talking about in regards to this celebrity Zoom. It's more what you bring to the borrower and how you conduct your business from start to finish, right? And that's really what we're talking about. Hey, I know we're kind of crunched for time. You got 6 steps. We've talked about 2. There's no way I can let you get out of here without talking about SpongeBob, Spider-Man. Like, we got to talk about that.
Let's do it.
Okay.
And we already talked about it a little bit, right? SpongeBob Spider-Man's all about what? It's taking everything that you know, forget about just mortgages, and sending that out into the universe to bring people into your network so they'll stick and they'll continue to talk with you. It's the way to make your business about more than mortgages. Have you ever been to a Buc-ee's? I don't know that they have them up there in Northern Virginia, but they're cropping up all over. Have you heard of Buc-ee's?
I've heard of them, but I've never been to one.
It's a brand new gas station, man. It's the new way of how gas stations are doing it. They got 47 pumps, so you're never going to wait. They got the cleanest bathrooms known to mankind. They make their own brisket, their own beef jerky, their own hot sauce. They make their own fudge. They got 30 people working there at a time, so you're never going to have to wait in line. They figured out how to make it bigger so that people will what? Just like Spider-Man, they're in the network, they're in the web, they want to go into the store, they want to communicate it, and they're going to make it happen and make it fast. Always think about being more than mortgages. So I have my wonderful, wonderful person. Her name is Caitlin. I did a gig out in New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico. She works for a roofing company. You know what I don't need? A roof in New Mexico. Okay. I live in North Carolina. But she told me about this thing called Pivo. And what it does is you put it on your phone. So when I'm talking on stage, I put my phone on a tripod and it follows me on stage and it records me so I can get all my presentations done like that. You know what she didn't talk about? A roof. If I ever need a roof in Albuquerque, New Mexico, you know who I'm going to talk to? I'm going to talk to Caitlin. See, we need to make it above and beyond that with what we're talking about. We need to be very memorable. Why do I look at a Ford Bronco in gloves and the law, right? The way that we say things count. You need to be memorable when you're keeping them in the network. Johnny Cochran did not say, hey, if the glove is ill-fitting upon the defendant's hand, therefore it is proof that no. He said, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. We say, I need your tax returns. I'm going to need your W-2s. I'm going to need your pay stubs. Oh, stop it. Tell them something in an interesting way, and then they'll stay within your network. If I don't get your taxes, your loan gets the axes. You know, you say something like that, and they're going to pay attention to what you say. If you get a new credit card, you're going to make this loan really hard. See, you just do that, and then they understand exactly how to do it. So that's where we are, and we can always find wonderful new apps that are out there and share that with our customers. Share with them the Project Color app from Home Depot. And what they do is when they move to a new house, they could take a picture of their bedspread or their couch, and it will tell you what color they should paint the walls to match the stuff that you already have. So just real quick, I mean, I floored that and I went at 70 miles an hour, but that's what SpongeBob Spider-Man is. It's go beyond what it is to get people in your network so that they will stay there and have that long-term value-add relationship with you.
Well, and look, you've talked about it and we've kind of gone round and round in different forms or fashion, but this is like, how do you separate yourself from your competition, right? How do you bring value to your relationships, whether that's the referral side of the house, whether that's the individual, the homeowner, the borrower, right? Like at the end of the day, what are you doing to add that value? What are you doing differently than the next person you're competing with? And a lot of times I think a lot of what you talked about, maybe some people do that, right? But it's the mundane. It's the routine that they've built for the last 10, 11, 12, 5, 2, 3 years, right? What are you doing differently? How are you stepping outside of that box that you've played in when rates were at 3%? And you said, like you said, you golfed every Friday. I'm sure there were a lot of originators that had their best years during that 2-year pandemic stretch because rates were at 2 3/4, 3. The phone was ringing off the hook and there were loans everywhere. How have you modified your approach in today's market? And again, go all the way back to the beginning, short-term versus long-term. It's a short-term window, right? At the end of the day, it is short-term. And what were the 3 things? Same again.
Organize, discipline, follow your plan. Boom. That's exactly what we're doing. And my plan is to be about a whole lot more than my mortgage interest rate. That's what it is. That's why right. I put videos out there on LinkedIn. That's why I'm always trying to make other additional contacts. That's why I'm growing my network. That's why I put the information into the CRM. It allows me to I'm disciplined to do that. So I follow my plan so I can take the action and be different than the competition.
Look, I think somebody put this out there in a newsletter. I think it was one of our AEs that sends a newsletter out every day, right? And he basically, in a roundabout way, kind of summarized some things that have been going on in the market with interest rates. You call it like the tour to interest, right? In the week in. And the last paragraph he put in there, I'll paraphrase it, right? He basically kind of alluded to the fact that you need to know all this, but now you need to come over here and put it to the side and go work your plan, right? At the end of the day, he's like, I got a ton of loan officers that are as busy as they've ever been. I have others that aren't. And the difference between the two is others came up with a strategy, how to reinvent themselves, how to take the knowledge and the information and then act on it. And then others are over here just complaining because rates went from 3 to 7.5 and they're doing nothing about it on their own accord to change the environment that they're playing in.
You know who I don't want to work with? Somebody who's constantly complaining.
Yeah, right?
Oh, how's life? Same stuff, different day. Oh, great. Let's talk about business. I don't want to talk to business about that. Your attitude counts, baby. I'm going to help you grow because we're going to take the information. We're going to take that mindset. We're going to make the right message out there and take those actions, and you can find success in today's market.
Yeah. Hey, do me a favor. Throw back up your contact information. Hey, look, as you saw, right, in one of the slides, he's got six, kind of steps, right, in this whole idea of what I call, how are you going to survive in the short term, right? As you've listened to this, I highly encourage you to reach out to Steve. Our AEs obviously will have this deck. We'll get it to you. Obviously, we take snippets of this and we send them back out in like quick hitting messages for you on like some content for you to remember. So we'll make sure that gets out to you. But yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to Steve. There's his contact information because he's got more than just what we covered today, right? My challenge to you as you watch this again, whether it's live or you're catching it as a recording, is you may look at some of this stuff sometimes when you get on a podcast or like a flex series like this and go, here's my challenge to you. Reach out to Steve. Challenge yourself, right? Think a little differently. Maybe in the past, you've never looked at this stuff and go, not my cup of tea, not for me, not going to pay attention. I'm going to challenge each and every one of you. If you haven't done this stuff before, reach out to Steve personally. There's his contact information. He's got way more information and strategies and how you can get information and then make it actionable, make your plan and move forward. He's got 3 more steps we haven't even talked about, right? So that's my challenge to everybody on this call. Reach out to Steve, see what his other 3 steps are, see he can go into more in depth with you. So there you go. Steve, what do you got in passing? Anything kind of to end with? Any words of wisdom we didn't talk about?
I just want to say thanks. That's really what it comes down to. There are no words of wisdom. It's about taking action today.
Love it. Love it. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate it. I know in talking to you and getting to know you, you predate way before me with Flagstar going back. So certainly appreciate it and always love when we can kind of circle back and get relationships going again. And I appreciate you doing this. So thanks very much.
Good luck to your Cowboys this weekend. Thanks, man.
I think we're going to need it. All right, gang. Hey, again, quick hitting. Hopefully, there's some good nuggets in there. Hell, even if all you take away from this are the different resources of where you can find the information that then you can build your plan around and take action, it was worth the 35, 40 minutes or so that you watch this. And on top of that, then the next part, right? We talk about social media and how that influences borrowers, referral sources, and you. Man, you get 3 really good groups that you can work with and join to get information. And the last thing I'm going to tell you, you've heard us say this before, and I love when somebody else says it without any scripting. But Steve mentioned learn a new product, right? And he threw out construction, whatever, reverse. Have you done manufactured, loans for manufactured housing? Keep going, 203Ks, rehab loans. Keep working, through all of that. You've heard us say this a lot, right? This is a market that you can't afford not to work with a borrower when you get that referral. You need to diversify your book of knowledge around product, right? And look, not everybody does everything well. Not everybody offers all the products, right? Like, for example, if you want to look into reverse mortgages, you're not going to call our AE. I mean, you could because they're probably going to know about it, but we don't offer reverse mortgages, right? But you should take that challenge he threw out there. And if it's once a week or once a month, really just dive in to a new product. Understand what the company you work for or your company has at its disposal. Non-QM, right? Bank statement loans. There's so many people that have this stigmatism about I'd never do a bank statement loan. It's not your past loan of Fagamira, no income, no asset, get a loan. It's meeting qualifications. There's an ability to repay. Man, it might be a non-QM loan, but nobody's just turning a blind eye to things like that anymore. So the challenge there is broaden your horizon. And look, hey, with that being said, I think our next one, I think we have a slide on it. Yeah, our next one is going to be on October 12th at 2 p.m. I'm going to leave this one a mystery for right now on who our guest is, but you're going to enjoy it. And there will be some valuable pieces of information you take away from it. And you'll see as we start marketing it, kind of where that session is going. But the next one's October 12th, 2 p.m. Eastern. Looking forward to it. And as always, I'll end with thank you. We appreciate your partnership. We know you have choices. We know we have to work for your business, and it is a business partnership. and we certainly appreciate you and thank you for all you do. So with that being said, man, again, thanks for joining. Have a great day. See you in October.